Everyone, it is so nice to be seen again. Listen, I'm very excited. I got some friends on camera here. We're going to be talking to them here briefly. I wanted to remind everybody though that we are having another EP Mixer, which is why we're on this interview at all. EP Mixer in Las Vegas on Thursday, April 11th, from 6 to 10 p.m. at SG Bar. So, having said all that briefly, and I'm in a hurry to get to this interview because I love these guys. I've known them for a long time. Networking is how it all kind of happened. Um, but we have one of our sponsors for EP Mixer Vegas and Alexios Security Solutions. We have the co-owners of said company with us, and that is Evan Levitt and Antonio Guadagni. Gents, it's so nice to have you here. We appreciate it. How are you?
We are awesome. Thanks for having us here, Craig.
Always
Doing
my
great,
pleasure.
Craig. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great. It's kind of fun because I man, I think Evan and I met over LinkedIn. And Antonio and I we have the Nine Lives Associate from EPI
Correct.
as a background, but and I don't Tony, do you remember was that how we met? Is that why?
Yes, I
Um,
reached out to you shortly after I received my certification in 2014,
okay.
and you were one of the local EPI Black Cats,
Yeah.
and I reached out to you, and we went out to lunch. Myself, Mike
we bought
Ward, and you.
yeah, we bought Mikey and it was over by the golf thing, or was the golf thing.
Correct. At Title.
It was Callaway. Yeah.
Yeah, which was Callaway. Yes,
Yeah,
that's how
man.
far back we go.
Yeah, no, it's funny. That's yeah, you
Yep.
just and then it's like then you never stops. I don't think we've ever stopped seeing one another, and that's just kind of how it
No,
goes.
even if
So
we weren't seeing each other, we were actually always in communication through, emails or LinkedIn or whatever.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's fun. That's fun to think about it. That is
Yep.
really as I was opening this up, I'm like, huh, yeah, that's how I know that's how I met Evan, but I think and then yeah, that reminded me of what we did back then. So anyway, this is not about how we met. This is about Alexios Security Solutions. You guys are sponsors. Thank you so much for doing that. Really appreciate it. You guys have always been super supportive of personally anything I've done. But then you're also doing things for the industry as well. And that's bringing good people into the industry, running businesses the right way, doing the right thing, the right all the time. So tell us a little bit about about yourselves, how Alexios came to be, where you are, what you offer, and I'll let you guys sort out who's going to tell us what.
Go ahead, Evan. I'll let you start.
All right, I was going to say A becomes before E, but I'll go for it. So, yeah, the short story, I was born and raised in New York. My brother's father, uncles were always in business, so I think that was always in my genetic makeup. I was in sales most of my career. During that time, I became a volunteer EMT and started going through my 40-year-old midlife crisis, maybe back at that time, and just thinking about going in a different direction other than business, which really led me into the security world. So from moving from New York to Las Vegas in 2007, and from then until now, it's been an interesting journey. And part of that journey was working for one of the larger hotel properties here and working my way up, learning all things about security and security operations and into executive protection. And then eventually coming to the point where I made the decision I no longer wanted to be an employee, but wanted to be an owner and to do things for others on a bigger scale and be more in control of that destiny. And that's where the part of the Alexios story was born with my relationship with Antonio, which is my segue to Antonio.
Yes. So my experience started back when I had a very young age of when my parents owned their restaurants, and being young and wanting to learn more about management and whatnot. And because of the language barrier for my parents through their vendors and whatnot, I had to take on responsibility of the operations of the restaurant fairly quickly, in at a very young age. And then since then, all the way up to my late 30s, I was involved in food and beverage, with national fast food chains, and, also with a very well-known casino here in Vegas. So, that's where a lot of my customer service comes from, a lot of my company service, and, also dealing with the teams below me. So, you know, in the security industry, I started right around 18 in special event security in San Diego, California, and just fell in love with it. Absolutely just fell in love with it. I loved being backstage and learning new things and actually getting into interact with the back then they were called bodyguards of the celebrities for the special events, and now, you know, they're all called protectionists or whatever. But, you know, and that at that point I said, that's something I want to do. But going on, I, you know, stayed in the food and beverage industry and kept things going, doing that until finally I decided I wanted to live to at least 60 and not die before then in the food and beverage industry and the stress that it causes.
Right.
So, you know, my wife reminded me, she said, hey, you had a passion for security. Why not get back into it? So I did. Went back into special event security, still found that I loved it, and then got to know some of the protection agents that were working for the talent that I was at the venue I was working for, and realized I wanted to do that. Went into EPI in 2014, got my very first certification, and just took it from there. And, you know, taking that experience from the restaurant industry and running operations and whatnot has brought me to this point, and meeting Evan along the way and working together. And we just seem to jive from day one. Maybe it's the New Yorker connection. Maybe it's the, you know, just gratitude for this industry and love for this industry. But it was just, you know, it was just chemistry from day one. And a partnership is just like any other relationship, right? If you don't jive, it's not going to work. And Evan and I jive on a lot of great, you know, points of this industry and with ourselves. So, you know, and that's where I'm at with bringing that experience into Alexios Security Solutions and making that as the COO and co-owner, bringing those experiences with me to make, you know, it just skyrocket. And we're, you know, so far things are just going very well. We're very pleased with where we're at, and we're looking very forward to the future.
That's awesome. And you know, I will say, you know, just what I've noticed with you guys, is that you really you really pursue it. You pursue, you know, Antonio. It seemed for a while that anytime I saw something on social with you, you were at some other training. You were here, you were there, you were, you know, you know, all this stuff. And anytime I text Evan, I'm meeting some people, you know, and you know, Craig just doing some biz dev, you know, and just like always, like you were pursuing the business, but also pursuing knowledge of the not so much the business side of it, yes, but the industry. You know, how do we do it better? How do we do it cleaner? How do we, and on and on. So that's cool, and I admire you guys for that. And it's fun to watch from you know, from my perspective to see how what you guys have done and what you're doing and what you will be doing. So with that, what is something that you guys are excited about in 2024 for Alexios?
Great question. There's really a lot that we're excited about. So as you know, Craig, we just wrapped up our first year of being licensed in Nevada, although we have a long history of serving the community here in Las Vegas. It was our first year for Alexios Security Solutions, and we had a fantastic year. We kind of define it as the foundation was built, right? And all that backside tough small business owner stuff behind the scenes that you got to go through. And now we're really into the first floor, right? We're out of the basement, we're into the first floor. So 24 is really going to be a growth area for us. You know, we're continuing to expand our relationships and our network on executive protection services and our headquarters here in Vegas, and as well as our Phoenix office is doing well down there. We have a fantastic team down there. But I think the biggest areas of our growth will be on the training side, and that's really twofold. It's something we've been kind of quiet about, and it's mostly because we're focused on behind the scenes, and it's very much a community-based focus. So some of our expansion will be into training and safety programs for community, family, children, houses of worship, which you know is a big thing for us.
Yeah.
And that's a direction that's we're going with expansion is, and of course, as far as traditional operations in EP, and that will include expanding out into other states in a geographic area as we are politely nudged by existing clients that are asking us about it.
Sure. Yeah, give them what they want. You know, it's like you can try it. You can try and reinvent the wheel. What you should be doing, where should we go? But if you have clients that are willing to pay for more stuff from you, there you go. You know, so yeah.
My excitement for 2024
Yeah.
is that we are, you know, currently licensed, like Evan said, in 2 different states, which is Nevada and Arizona. And the growth alone in those two areas industrially is just, for a lot of different industries, is just unbelievable. You have a lot of tech growing in Arizona. You have a lot of tech coming here. I mean, now we have a new $2.8 billion movie studio being built here in Las Vegas, thanks to Mark Wahlberg and to the Howard Hughes Corporation getting together, and Sony, I believe, which I think is just going to skyrocket the protection industry here in Vegas, and it's already starting to increase in Arizona. So I'm just very excited about the growth that we're going to experience because of that.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll be well, and I will be watching. Obviously, Vegas is near and dear to my heart, so anything I can get my hands on that says anything about Vegas, I'm paying attention to. So that's cool. What you know, again, like I said, how I opened this is you guys have always been supportive of anything, whether it was us working together or I'm going to go do something else, and you guys have always been behind me, and I appreciate that. But for this, you decided, you decided you wanted to sponsor this event. What led you to want to sponsor an event like the EP Mixer?
That wasn't even a want. That was just it it will be, right? We go way back with you. It's just it's a friendly brotherhood in industry related assumption that you're there for me, I'm there for you. I consider that we go way back, to some extent, right? I look back at our individual careers, Greg, when we were a little bit puppy, and even whatever that time was, 70 or 8 years ago. So, and where
Yeah.
we are now, it's pretty neat. So it really was just a no-brainer. And as you know, there are other formats out there, and the moral of the story is there needs to be more collaboration, which I think our industry is much more focused on. In a very male-dominated, ego-driven business, is much more collaboration and cooperation than there is competition, something Antonio and I speak to all the time. So
Yeah.
of course, it happens to be in where we're the hometown team, so we appreciate that it's here because we love Las Vegas, and we're all about promoting the cities that we're in. But it's all about you, buddy. It's all about what you're doing, what your team is doing, the other folks that you're associated with in your own business that we plural want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
How would we not want to be a part of it,
Well, I
right?
appreciate that. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Yeah, cool.
So, with the EP Mixer, I mean, look at the wonderful things that you have accomplished. Look at the positive feedback that you've gotten. It's just when you bring industry professionals together, there's so much that can happen. Yes, you have networking, you have sharing of ideas, but you also have the just insights that people can learn from one another about, this is what I'm doing for my company here, or this is what I'm doing for my agents there. And it's just it's a nucleus. It almost becomes like a nucleus of the industry when these little events happen. So, it's not so much why we would do it, why not? Right. It's what our industry needs. Again, with that collaboration and less competition idea, that's what needs to happen. Sometimes at these mixers, people who have had, certain issues with each other, these things get squashed during these events. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what we need. And more connections being made, and more solid relationships that come out of these events are just priceless. And there's a lot more benefits. I can go on and on for hours. Until somebody attends one, they won't understand. So if you haven't attended one, this is the time to do it.
Well, that's I appreciate those are great words, man. Those I couldn't agree more. Obviously, that's always been a kind of an overarching mission of just get people in the same room to talk, and you see what comes to that, and the learning potential that comes from each interaction or each event. I think that gets overlooked. It's like, well, how can it help me? Which that's okay. Like, think that way too. But you're bringing something to the table as well. Whether it's usually your experience of not a lot of experience, and that's okay too, and how you see it, and to guys that got worlds of it, have been doing it for decades, so that learning potential is something I think that often gets missed. So I appreciate you bring that up, and you kind of highlight it. So guys, we're kind of running out of time here, but I do want people to know, where can they go to find out more about Alexios?
Sure. The single best place to follow us on social media, if it's about security operations, and business development, that's LinkedIn for both Anton and I. And then certainly please follow us on all of our social media platforms, or AlexiosSecuritySolutions.com website. We have excellent blog series on home safety, family safety, houses of worship, everything that free stuff and resources that people can benefit from and utilize in their own communities.
Correct.
Cool. Great. Well, gents, thank you so much for that. Everybody who's listening, please go follow them. Please head to the website, check them out. Please come to the event, get a chance to meet these fine gentlemen. And I say that, a lot of times that's tongue in cheek, or, it's just kind of an expression, but I mean that when I talk about these guys, they've always been great for the industry, always been great to me. And that's that's the type of people that they are. So, gentlemen, Evan, Antonio, thanks so much for one. Thank you for sponsoring. Thanks for taking the time to do this. You run a business, and it's hard to find time. And I appreciate that you found this 15-20 minutes for me, and for for everybody who's going to be listening. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Yep. The thanks go to you. We appreciate you bringing everybody together, and we love you. We look forward to seeing you guys.
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you and everybody else that's going to attend. I am so excited about this. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
Register if you haven't yet. Register.
Yes.
Exactly. So, folks, you're hearing that. So it's not coming from me beating you over the head to register for this event. Come to EP Mixer in Vegas. You got some sponsors saying that to you too, and hopefully, if you haven't heard, you will. And if you do come, you will see exactly what they're talking about. So one more time, EP Mixer, Las Vegas, April 11th, 6 to 10 p. Thursday, April 11th, 6 to 10 p.m. in at SG Bar out on the west side. You Google it, you'll find it, but you will get there'll be more notifications on social. Please go and get yourself registered, epmixer.com. Until then, that's all I got. Hope you have a great one, and I'll talk to you real soon.